Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you all for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 17 with the band Kid Finish. Make sure to check out their brand new self-titled album on Spotify and all other major streaming services. Moving on, once again, today we have a different kind of episode. We don't just have one guest today. We have a whole panel. The panel was chosen specifically to talk about one topic, the single life. To some, the single life is this fun, glorious state of freedom with no one to tie you down or hold you back or anything like that. And then to others, maybe the single life is like a miserable, monotonous existence centered around like an ever-growing emptiness devoid of any true connection. That's kind of deep in the hole there. But most people, though, I think is somewhere in the middle, and they have a very it is what it is attitude about it. So let's see where our panelists are with that. So welcome back to the show from episode number 5, Roy.
Yes, hi, my name is Roy. I'm an average guy that just likes to go out, have fun, and pretty much that's it, I guess.
All right. So that's what is a good one? Swipe left or swipe right?
Oh, yeah, the good one is swipe right, I believe.
Swipe right. Okay, so swipe left on Roy. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so...
Hey, actually, that normally happens, so I'm used to
it. All right, so also returning from episode number 6, Bao.
How's it going?
Bao, what's your little about me?
I'm a student at CU, and I'll put a couple of cute little emojis with that.
All right.
Maybe like a guy with a chef's hat or something.
There you go. All right, so now for the ladies, and they're all brand new guests, by the way. Let's welcome Monica.
Hi, guys. So my name is Monica, and for about me, geez, I don't know. I mean, let me start them off. I'm a single parent, and I like the color blue, I guess.
There we go. And then for reference, I like to let everybody know on the podcast how we know each other. Monica and I worked at the ill-fated YPI together. Did you listen to that episode, Monica?
With Marissa?
Yeah, episode number 14.
Yeah, I did listen to it. I think I was probably laughing at some point. I'm like, geez, I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so next we have a guest who will be returning in a few episodes for another topic. We have Grace.
Hey. About me, I always start off with born and raised in LA, but living in San Diego now. Love long walks on the beach with my dog.
There we go. I was waiting for the long walks on the beach from somebody. And then Grace, you and I know each other more so from when I was a bouncer, right?
I don't know how we know each other.
Yeah, I think I was a bouncer at Carmine's, and I think
oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm like everybody's kind of like in my different worlds right here. Like I knew Bao from high school, and Roy, I worked with him somewhere else, and I got my YPI people, and then my from my days as a bouncer. So it's all kind of meeting up here. All right, and then last but not least, we have Dianne.
Hello, I'm Dianne. So my about me, it's very like I love working at my job, working with youth. I love cats and dogs, and that I love going to breweries, and that's basically, and that I like to laugh.
Yep. I was gonna say, on your profile, you got to have must love dogs, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the one that definitely. I just put like bullet points because I don't know how to write like a paragraph.
Yeah. And then Dianne, you also worked not briefly for a long time. At the ill-fated YPI, right? Did you listen to that episode?
I have not yet to listen to that episode, but I'll do it today.
All right. So I appreciate you guys all joining us for the episode today, and I think we can all agree, especially those of us guys on here, that we thank the ladies for joining us because my immediate thought when I put singles party for the podcast, I thought it was going to be just one giant cockfest. So thank you, ladies, and Bao and Roy. Am I right here? We're very thankful for them being on.
Yes, very thankful.
Thank you, ladies.
You're very welcome.
There you go. All right, so you've given us your about me, right? So what we're going to talk about a little bit is, what's your single life story? Like what's led up to this point? Everybody's coming from different walks of life. Some people are just like perpetually single. Some people were, married or, committed or had a kid or something like that before getting to this point. Right. So I guess what I'm asking is just more or less like, why are you currently single?
Well, I'm single because my ass got dumped a month ago.
And that's Grace right there.
Yeah. Just didn't work out. We're still friends, but I'm a serial monogamist, and it's a weird feeling being single. I haven't been single in forever. Usually I'm able to be in a relationship within like a couple of weeks being on the dating apps. So I hate being single, but that's the reason why I'm single now.
So, Grace, like, what have you tried, like, online dating, blind dates, and stuff like that? What's worked? What hasn't worked?
You know what? I was having this conversation with a random guy that I was talking to today. I have met all 3 of my exes through online dating apps. Okay. So I am a firm believer that dating apps work.
Huh. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll find out right now, but I think maybe... I would assume maybe you're in the minority there because I've heard like a lot on the other side of that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So anybody else want to jump in?
So I actually was in a really long relationship. I've been single for about 8 months.
And this is Monica.
Yes, this is Monica. Well, he cheated on me with some friend. I was his friend, I guess. I don't know what she is to him. I can't really talk about her because some court issues. Yeah, it's my story is kind of really it's very, very complicated. Yeah, so he dumped me because he found someone else. I guess he thinks better than me, but whatever. We have a kid together, so I still have to see him, but there's no feeling. So I moved on. I currently am dating someone right now, but it's not like too serious. I'm just trying to have fun. That's all.
All right. Thank you for that. Who's next?
Well, I guess I can be next. This is Roy here. So it's very interesting how I became single again. Let's just say my ex, she dumped me on Christmas Day. So I guess her gift to all the ladies here in Las Vegas was, hey, here's Roy. Long and short of it, let's just say, without getting too much into it, I had an idea what was going to happen, but I said, screw it, I'm just going to go with it anyway. Without getting into too much detail, it just had to do with whether or not giving a gift to her son. Oh, wow. Which at that time I felt like he hadn't earned one because, but that's a whole nother story. But but other than that, like, the whole dating thing for me, just like I've gone out here and there. I get shut down a lot, obviously. Let's see. Because, let's be real here. Okay, when it comes to dating, at the end of the day, no woman has ever said, oh, wow, yeah, I want me a short man, So, so that works against me. But I've done a lot of online dating, which, interestingly enough, like online dating, the apps, have worked for me a lot. Okay. As well as in person, but for me, because of my personality and other things, let's just say that I rarely get someone that says, "Oh, wow, you're really cool. Let's meet up." So, let's go out. I'm sorry, let's go out. So, so that's my single life story in a nutshell.
So, Roy, what you're saying is that after like communication back and forth, a lot of the times you get people who are more kind of like, yeah, I'd rather not.
For the most part, and like for the most part, but what actually has worked for me in the past is like, I'm one of those guys that you have to get to know for a while, and after knowing me for about a few weeks, women tend to realize, oh, he's an okay guy. Oh, we'll give it a shot.
Definitely an acquired sense of humor, right, Roy?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So we got Bao or Dianne. Who wants to jump in?
I guess I can go. I've been single forever, for basically all my life I date here and there, but I just, looking for a relationship has never really been like a must. I don't want to say a must, but it's not like, oh my God, I need to be in a relationship to like be who I am, or like I'm okay being alone. Like I have a lot of friends. I'm loved. I have my dogs, my family. So if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I'm okay. Like, I'm like, eh. So, the last relationship I was in, it was probably like, I don't know, 5 years ago, which was, lasted 6 months. It was fine. We're great. We're friends. But, it's kind of like, okay, you go your way, I go my way. We're good. Like it ended. I done the dating apps. They just don't work for me either. I think I also get very nervous in meeting like strangers.
Right. Yeah.
Like stranger danger. So like I swipe right, or then sometimes I swipe left, or I don't know, their profile intimidates me too. Like they're always like, I like to work out, I like to go running, and I'm like, yeah, I don't do any of that. I don't work out. I walk every so often, but no, I don't. My idea of a good time is not going to the gym. I'm sorry. My idea of a good time is like, let's go to a brewery. And I think also a lot of the things for me is that I don't care for kids. I don't want to have kids. And for some reason, men do. They're always like, I want a family, and I was like, I really don't care for that. Like, I want commitment. I don't care for marriage either. Like, all I care for is commitment, right? Commitment and loyalty. Those are the two most important things for me. So, I guess it's like a radical view for females. Do you think like that?
Well, and then you mentioned how things are a little intimidating on the profiles. We'll talk a little bit about profiles in a bit.
Okay.
How it's kind of become almost like a Facebook, or like a look at me, kind of world. I think, right, where especially the free dating sites where you want to show off your best aspects, but that's just kind of like a little bit phony. But we'll get into that. All right, so Dianne, thank you for sharing. Bao, what's your single life story?
I recently was in a breakup a couple months ago. That was pretty hard. I've been on both ends, and I felt like breaking up with somebody was quite a harder task. I kind of like compared it to maybe sitting in a bathtub and somebody running the water, being broken up with. But I felt like this time I was controlling the rate of the water, and that was really hard. But I've been in a few relationships throughout the years, and I feel like every time I walked away with each one, I learned a lot more about myself, and I'm at a really good place right now.
What have you tried, Bao? Have you tried online stuff, blind dates, or anything else? I mean, or just I don't think these days it's really a thing to like randomly go up to somebody and be like, hey, I think you're attractive. Here's my number. That it's kind of weird these days.
What I found the most success is going out and doing things that I like to do. I've found that I run into people that are more compatible when I'm not looking for it. Does that make sense? I've tried online datings, but it rarely goes past a single date or two.
All right. Okay, so with everybody kind of I think it seems has tried online dating at least, right? So what I want to hear about, I know there's got to be some horror stories out there, some bad stories, maybe bad dates, perhaps stalkers, I don't know. But what has been maybe some horror stories that you have about bad dating experiences?
So I was actually I had gone on a date with some guy that I met online. So we had so many things in common. So the night that I actually hung out with him, he was getting a little touchy, and I looked at him and I was like, okay, dude, like you gotta stop. Like, no, like you gotta like, don't touch my arm. Like, I'm very particular about certain stuff. And I was like, yeah, don't do that. I then sent him a text message the next day, because I was like, well, I kind of thought about it overnight, and I was like, yeah, it's not gonna work. I'm sorry. Like, peace. See you later. So I just told him, like, you know what? Don't talk to me. Like, I really don't want to talk to you at all. Mm-hmm. And he was like, okay, well, that's fine. And then out of a sudden, like, there was days that he would call me and it would be like nonstop. And I would be like, dude, like, didn't I just tell you not to call me? And obviously I blocked him on my cell phone, text messages. But I completely forgot to block him off Instagram. Mm. So that was the issue. Like, he kept sending me messages. And then I finally told him, like, you know what, dude? Like, honestly, like, at this point, I'm not trying to be a bitch, but I'm gonna bring it to you. Like, I don't like you. I don't want anything with you. Like, you gotta leave me alone. So he kind of took it like a no, but I was like, whatever, I don't care. So I blocked him, and I was like, you know, and he's tried to, like, add me through other platforms, and I'm just like, dude, like, just give it up. Like, what's the deal, you know? Yeah, so that's definitely one story.
I mean, I think it seems like guys, you know, we're very overly persistent sometimes, right? I imagine that at some point for the ladies, you must have, how do I put it? It's inevitable. You must have received the ever popular unsolicited dick pic, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, I'm like, you know, dude, I really don't want to see your balls. Like, in my description, did I say I want to see your balls? Like, I don't. Like, I'm talking to you about music. Talk to me about music, you know? Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? I don't have time for this. Bye. See you later, you know? And I just block them. There you go.
Same. But I typically put, like, LOL or, like, a laughing emoji, and then I block them.
So,
I'm kind of a bitch like that.
kind of humiliate them first before the block, right?
Exactly. They should not be doing that. They know better.
I mean, as a guy, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe besides just being raised right, I don't really understand that phenomena, right? It's like, what possesses you to just, like, be like, oh, hello, and then be like, look at what I've got, you know? And I think for us guys, we don't really have that happen to us. You know, I don't think we randomly get, you know, messages with lewd photos from females or anything like that. I mean, I think most of us would not be opposed to that, but it seems to just be a thing that guys want to, you know, do within, like, what would you say, like a day of talking, a couple of days? What is it usually entail?
I got it. What was that website? They call it the hookup website or the hookup dating site?
Is that Tinder?
Tinder, yes. It was when it first came out. I didn't know that's what it was called. Like, that was the purpose of it. I was like, oh, it's a dating site. Cool, let me get on it. I created the profile, and I think it was like 10 minutes. Then I got, like, my first one. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, delete.
So not even a day, just within 10 minutes. Dang.
Delete the app. I was like, I don't know. He seemed like his profile was cool. So I was like, oh, cool. We matched. Or he started off, I still remember, like, oh, how are you? I'm good. Oh, what are you doing? I was like, oh, you know, I'm just chilling. And then there it was. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And yeah, I just didn't answer. I didn't know what to do. It was the first time. I got, like, nervous. I don't even know why. I was like, oh my God.
You're like, it winked at me.
Yeah. So I just, like, deleted the app. I was like, it traumatized me. I was like, no, I don't want to do this.
So, Bao, Roy, you guys are not over there sending dick pics, are you?
What? Oh, no, not me. No, I believe, I want to say that I was raised right. You know, I may do some things that are not right that make you want to wonder, like, why? But that's not one of those things.
Good. Bao, you're not sending the nuclear Yang Gang.
The nuclear Yang Gang dick pics? No.
All right, good. Well, anybody else have like some horror stories or any bad dates they want to share?
I have two, but one that actually supersedes the other. I will try and cut it down a little bit because this one's kind of a little bit of a long story, but long and short of it, like, this was back in the days before pictures were on, what do you call it? Were available on the internet, as a common thing, So, so I was just on this one social media site that was around in the late '90s, just before social media was a thing. It used to be called College Club. It was just, it was short lived. But so I got a random message from this young woman, and she's like, "Oh, hey, what's up? I noticed that you like wrestling." I was like, "Oh yeah, And so we just start hitting it off, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, "All right, cool." So we start talking on the phone, and we're on the phone for almost a full week, about 2 or 3 hours of conversations the whole time. She's like telling me, "Oh yeah, I go to this university, da da da," and the whole time, we're just having good conversations, Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, cool. And so then, like I said, okay, hey, listen, do you want to go to a movie? She was like, sure. I go pick her up, and I'm sorry, I got to backtrack a little bit. So during our conversations, I would ask her, and keep in mind, this was in my 20s, and I was just like really blunt. Mm-hmm. So I did ask her, hey, listen, so what do you look like? And she would tell me like, oh, I'm 5 feet tall, not fat, not skinny. Mm-hmm. I'm average, but I think I'm fat. And so people always tell me, you're fat? From where? Mm-hmm. And like, you're not. And I was like, and I had a friend that was like that, and she wasn't fat. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I kind of have an idea. So, but I told her straight out, like, listen, I do have my preferences, just like anybody else, so if you're over 200, yeah, it ain't gonna happen. We can chill, we can be friends, but yeah, and nothing happening over $2 bills. And so she was like, "Oh no, we're good." I was like, but I was like, "All right, let's see what happens." Mm-hmm. So fast forward to I'm picking her up. I'm picking her up at her dorm, and so or something or whatever it was. And so as soon as she comes down, she opens up the door. I'm like, "Wow!" So while technically she was telling the truth, where she wasn't fat, she wasn't skinny. And obesity is the national average. Was becoming the national average. Right. Wow, she was well over $2 bills. Ooh. Yeah, I was like, wow, what the heck? But I'm like, you know what though? I'm a nice guy. Uh-huh. I want to be a good guy, so I'm not about to just be a jerk either. Uh-huh. So I was like, okay, hey, listen, so all right, so we're okay, and so we just start making a little conversation. But here's the part where it starts going off the rails.
All right.
Okay, because all of a sudden she starts asking me like, hey, listen, can you do me a favor? Can we run in a quick errand? Can we just go drop off? I'm dating myself here. So can we go drop off this video at Blockbuster? I'm like, why didn't you do it earlier? And I'm like, and in my mind, I'm thinking like, who does this on a first date? Who's asking to, hey, can we run a freaking quick errand, drop off a video at Blockbuster? But I was like, whatever. Mm-hmm. She runs upstairs. I said, okay, whatever, let's go. She runs upstairs to get the video, and I'm just looking at some of the wall art, and then she just starts looking down and doesn't see me, and she calls out my name. I'm guessing this happened to her before. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, are you there? I'm like, yeah, I'm here. What's up? Oh, okay. I think she thought I bounced out. So she comes down. She comes down, and I ask her, like, okay, so where's the Blockbuster? Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you how to get there. I was like, there's only 2 Blockbusters in this city, out in LA, right? And I know where they're at. Just which one is it? Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I'll tell you how to get there. I was like, oh crap! Now she's sending me somewhere who knows where. Uh-huh. All right, fine, whatever. So we get on the freeway. She tells me, just get on this freeway. I was like, okay, we get on the 110. Okay, we're going on the 110. And then we're coming up on a what do you call it? On a traffic jam. And I ask her, yo, so where is this Blockbuster? And she goes, oh, it's over by wherever it was. I was like, I asked you where it was. I had a quicker way to get there, and it was on our way to the movies we're gonna go.
Right.
And she goes like, "Well, how do you know?" And then all of a sudden, she starts cussing up a storm.
Oh.
F this, S that, this, and oh, by the way, I don't curse, so that's why if I say F this, S that, use your imagination. And then it's just like every other word is a curse word, and I'm like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And then we're going off in the traffic jam. All of a sudden, to top things off, bam! I get rear-ended. Dang. I'm like, so this date's already going bad, and to top it off, I get rear-ended in a car accident. Uh-huh. And I'm like, what? Yeah, this can't get any better. So long and short of it, I just tell her after exchange information, all that nonsense. I just tell her like, yo, listen, this ain't gonna happen anymore. I can't do this. Okay, I got into a car accident, and she goes, no, I get it. Just do me a favor, drop me off over here. I was like, all right, cool, whatever, boom. I just dropped her off and left it at that. I cut out so much on that thing, but I'll tell you this much: worst date ever. But it wouldn't have been as bad if not. Nearly 10 years later, I wound up not only going on a date with one of her best friends, another one of her friends winds up becoming one of my coworkers.
Huh.
I was like, what is this ever gonna end?
Dang.
But yeah, so that's my one. And the second one, I'll just say very briefly, she posted up a picture from 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So when I met her, I was like, whoa, how old are those pictures? She goes like, oh, can you tell? I'm like, yeah. And why would you do that? Well, because if you look at me now, nobody will want to see me. I was like, yeah, I was out. I had to go bounce out. But yeah, so those are my those are pretty much my top two worst dates ever.
So Roy, the 200-pounder, the 200-plus pounder.
Yes.
She was going to beat you up.
Probably could have.
Because you didn't drop her off at the right Blockbuster. She was going to beat you up.
Right? Well, no, that's the thing. She had me drop her off at her brother's work. Mm. She told me, just drop me off at my brother's work and he'll take me home from there. I was like, all right, not a problem. I am not going to argue with that one because I was already done. I already had a headache from getting rear-ended because at that time, I loved that car. I really loved that car. It was my first car that I bought brand new, 0 miles, a couple years earlier. And I was like, yeah, that was my baby, And she just I was like, no, I'm done.
And I'm glad you mentioned some things. We'll talk about it in a bit. But that's one of the next topics we're going to move on to is the idea of attraction and whether or not, people give other people that they deem unattractive a chance, but we'll get to that part.
All right, cool.
Any other horror stories from anybody who wants to chime in?
I had one that it was like, you hear about those scammers on online dating. So I had one that, we were hitting it off, we were texting back and forth, and then all of a sudden he's all like, like, I need money because of this, and I was like, oh dear Jesus Christ. You're one of those people. Uh-huh. But I was like, luckily I'm not like one of those desperate like women who like I'm like, yeah, here's my money, even though we never met in real life, we just been talking. So I was like, I just didn't reply back. I was just like, whatever. And then I tried looking up at his profile again, and then he was blocked. I met him at Coffee Meets Bagel. And and on it, he said that he was like, once you clicked on his profile, like Coffee's like he's been doing it to other girls. So I was like, okay, so this is why I have trust issues. This is like story of my life that I would get the one guy I connected with that would wants to scam me for money.
So he was probably pretty good at his rap then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he was good. He was attractive too, and he made me laugh, and we were having good conversations, and then it was like, of course.
How did he kind of ease into the whole money talk?
He just texted me like randomly, like, hey, like, I forgot what he said, that he was stuck somewhere, that he just needed money. Or he told me before that he was going to leave the country or something. And that was already like suspicious. And I was like, okay, have fun. And then that's when he was like, oh, I'm stuck. Like, is it fine? Like, if you can send me, like, I think it was like $500. No, and again, I was just like, okay, yeah, no. I just didn't even reply back. I was just like,
that's insane.
Yeah. So I was like, no wonder we never brought up the conversation. And I'm not one to bring up like, when are we going to meet, because I'm shy. I was like, no wonder he never brought up like, let's meet up.
Well, if you were to listen to Bao's episode of the podcast earlier at episode 6, he would tell you that if we had universal basic income, that we wouldn't need to be asking for money on dating sites.
Well, you just never know. You still probably would.
All right.
But, yeah.
Any other horror stories before we change it up?
Yes. So I was just remember thinking back. So there was this guy that I met. Super like I met him at work actually. But I had found him online.
Okay.
So we were talking, we were connecting, and all that. So when he asked, like, "Hey, like, we should like go out sometime," I was like, "Yeah, that's totally okay." Well, I don't know why. I was like, okay, something seems a little fishy though, because it's like he's super sweet, like, something's going on. Mm. So I actually looked into his background, and I found out that he has a girlfriend. Mm. And that's when I was like, why does this keep happening to me? So majority of guys that I've dated end up either being married or have a girlfriend. So when I found out, I didn't want to bring it up to him because I didn't want him to be like, oh, like, why are you looking for me? Like, why are you investigating? Mm-hmm. But, I kind of have to because at this point, I mean, sometimes guys, I'm not going to say every guy, but sometimes there are guys that try to be slick and try to, like, have two cakes. And when one of them is upset, they want to go with the other one, right? Mm-hmm. So I was just like, finally I brought it up to him. I said, hey, like, how come you didn't tell me you had a girlfriend? And he's like, well, I didn't think it was like an issue or anything. And I'm like, yeah, it is a big issue. Mm-hmm. Like, you have a girlfriend, like, I'm going to get myself into an issue where like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for drama. Like I worry about other things that's more important, So definitely I was like, yeah, after that I was like, forget it. Like, I'm just gonna think about myself now, not even gonna bother. But yeah, that's one of my stories. And I was like, thank God I did not go out with this guy, because what if something would have happened between us, and later on I was gonna be like devastated, like, oh my God, you have a girlfriend and blah, 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 So I think I saved myself on that one.
Well, had you known Roy, you could have asked his 200-pound wrestler girlfriend from the other bad date to come back you up.
I should have, right? I should have, and it's just, oh, man.
All right. So as far as dating habits go, and this is, again, just for everybody to think about, marinate on it for a minute, right? As far as dating habits go, do you think there's anything that you need to change up as far as what you're looking for? Meaning, do you have a type when it comes to the person you're looking for? Some people, they think like, oh, I'm always chasing toxic people, or something like that. Does that type work against you as a disadvantage at all?
Actually, interestingly enough, if I may jump in, I've actually did do that change up a while ago. Many years ago, to be in fact, because like I said, many years ago, I used to have a type. Don't get me wrong, I didn't want for example, the skinny girl with big boobs. That was not what I wanted. Well, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but that's one of the story. Sorry, but the fact remains is that no, I did prefer slender women or women that were proportionate, but not, well, like I said, 200-pounders, right? That was how I was back then. Mm-hmm. But and for a while there, I just was in the mentality of I knew I was the reason why I was single, because I figured it out. Because I realized, first of all, I'm focusing too much on looks and not enough on substance.
Right.
So after a while, I realized, well, why am I gonna go? I mean, and then I started to think, well, as we get older, looks will fade. Women will naturally gain weight, especially if they pop out a kid or two, right? I'm just saying, this is real.
Right.
So I was thinking, I'm not about to go ahead and dump someone that I've started building a life with just because she gained a few pounds,
Uh-huh.
So I started putting that in my thought process, and then I was thinking, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just not be as shallow. Mm-hmm. So over time, I just started realizing, you know what? Let me look at the woman, see what she has as far as personality wise, and as well as, and don't just focus on the looks. Mm-hmm. So for example, when I was with the one that I was mentioning to you, that had a 5-year outdated picture, right? Mm-hmm. I would have so gone out with her still had she just put up a more recent picture, just because of the fact that she seemed like a really good person, And that's all I really care about now. Are you a good person with a good heart? Don't get me wrong. Looks do somewhat still matter. You know, I still have to be attracted and all that stuff, but I'm not going to be focusing on just one thing.
Right.
You know, like for example, like if I see a profile and she does happen to have I'm going to be a little bit coarse here. Like if she does have to, well, a little blunt, I'm sorry. She happens to have a few LBs on her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still gonna, but I'm still gonna try and see and get to know her a little bit more. See what she has, like for example, in her profile. And if it's something that I can see, okay, we can work. I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna throw that message. Be like, yo, hey, listen, how you doing? I'm not exactly say that, but I'm just saying. I'm gonna say, hey, what's up? Or if it's somebody that I know in person and I get to know and I think she's a real chill person, I'm like, hey, how you doing? That type of thing, you know. So I've done that change up where I'm not gonna focus on just looks per se. I'm gonna try and look because ever since I did that, I've had more success.
Okay.
I've had more success.
Good job, Roy. That's growth. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe you can go pick up that lady at Blockbuster again and see what's up with that. You know, tell her like, hey, you fix up my bumper and shit, and we're all good.
You know, interestingly enough, I will say this on that one with her BFF, right? That one, that like years later, right? When we all realized what was you know, all of that, she did tell her that, hey, listen, tell Roy that I apologize for my language and everything. It's just the fact that that she held no ill feelings. It's just the fact that she just figured, you know, at some point it went downhill, so might as well just, you know, for lack of a better phrase, slide into the what's the phrase again? I forget. Just slide into the crash, or whatever the heck it goes. Just go ahead and just go into the crash course, whatever. Long and short of it, wow, I am so screwing up right now with what I'm trying to say, but let's just say she just said screw it. That's all she said, you know.
All right. Okay. Anybody else? Do you think there's any maybe some bad? I think Roy set a good example there by showing how he changed it up a little bit. As far as his mentality went. Anybody else think that maybe you have some bad habits that maybe you need to change up, or you attract the wrong type, or maybe crazy, toxic people, clingy people, jealous type, anything like that?
Well, I changed. I used to like older men. I'm 28, so the father of my child is actually 44 years old. So it's a huge gap between us. So I kind of changed my way because I used to think, well, older guys would treat me better than the guys my age, right? Because that's what I thought, you know. But this guy was completely toxic. Like, he lived a double life. You know, he had his wife, never divorced her. He was with me, and you know, we had a kid, and it was just like an affair, like a huge hot mess. But, you know, it's just that I decided to change that on myself. And I said, you know what, at this point, I don't really care whether he's young or old. I've dated someone younger than myself, you know, maybe 2 years younger than I am. And I mean, I thought it's completely different. I kind of pushed myself away from my kind of like group of people because I'm into like the post-punk era, you know, psychobilly, rockabilly style. So I did see that a lot of guys from that, I guess, type that was my type were kind of really toxic. Like, they were very machismo. They thought like, you know, because I look really hardcore and really punk, you know, I have to like act like this about people, and therefore, you know, they'd never would want to treat you right, of course, in front of you, because they don't want to see that soft side coming out, you know. So definitely, you know, I push myself away from that. I mean, the guy that right now, you know, I'm talking to, we kind of hang out. He's completely opposite than I am. And, you know, sometimes I laugh because it's like, you know, I would have never thought that I would have cooked with you. But it's just, you know, you're not the type of person that I would actually date. But I said, you know, fuck it. Let me just give it a try. Sorry, excuse my language.
I don't know if you've heard the podcast yet, but you don't need to apologize.
No, I know, but I know because Ray was saying that he doesn't curse, so that's why I don't want to feel bad, you know?
Yeah, like get it all out of the way. I think my tagline is, I don't know shit.
So, you know, that's definitely, and, you know, same thing as Roy said, you know, like, my baby daddy, I mean, he's a very good looking guy, don't get me wrong, but it's like, you know, like it's not the looks. It's not the looks anymore. It's what's in the heart. And definitely, I mean, I changed myself too, which where I'm like, well, maybe I need to kind of just shift myself for a bit and figure out my own self as well. I mean, you know, being a single parent, it's not easy because it's like, it's not just about me now. It's actually about my kid and myself. And when it comes to dating guys, it's like, I've just obviously told my mom, be like, hey mom, like, can you like stay with my kids so I can like go out for a bit, you know? So it's a huge shift. That's all I have to say, you know? And definitely, you know, once you get older, I feel like you start kind of realizing, because as when you're young, you're just like, I mean, you just think everything is fun, right? So once you hit a certain age, you're just like, well, no, I think it's time for me to just like grow up and stop thinking that certain way. And I guess, yeah, that's what happened to me. So now here I am, you know, 6 months later, being single and trying to realize, like, okay, what's my next step now, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, Monica, you're actually, I think, the only one with kids, with a child. Would you say that that you having a kid, that does that play any sort of factor, you know, whether a guy is interested or not?
Yes and no. Because I've met a couple of guys that they're like, oh, well, it's cool, you know, like, but I don't think they don't realize it until they actually start dating me in a way that like, oh, you know, like it's serious. And sometimes it's like, like last time I was in the middle of a date and my mom calls me, hey, you know, like, you know, your child isn't feeling well. Okay. Well, I'm like, hey, sorry, I have to run, you know, I have to go. So I feel like it's hard too, because you kind of have to balance it out. I mean, because you gotta, like, when you're meeting someone and you're dating someone, you kind of have to, like, also give them that attention, but it's also you have to give your attention back what's at home. So it's a little complicated, you know. For myself, like I said, you know, it's new to me. It's sometimes I even think to myself, like, how the hell do these fucking people do it? Like, how do they date and then, you know, maintain home? And it's like, it's so hard, you know, like, it's like you have to juggle all this stuff together. But I definitely give props to those moms that, you know, are out there and being single and, you know, trying to date and get their lives together. And I do know certain people, like a couple of people that are, you know, they were single parents, they were dating someone and they found someone that, you know, totally accepted them with their kid. But, you know, it goes back to like, you know, it's when you, like, there's some guys that get really turned off when you tell them like, oh, I have a kid, you know, because they think that because you have a kid, you're not fun anymore type of thing, you know? But it's like you kind of have to sit down and let them know, like, hey, you know, you have to be open-minded, because at one point, like, if you yourself end up having a kid, I mean, you're going to be stuck with that responsibility too. But then it plays out differently, because, see, for myself, I'm a single parent. I have my daughter 100% most of the time. Her dad, I mean, he's in and out of her life. So it's like he runs off, does whatever he wants. He dates women. You know, he's, sorry to say it, but he's a whore. And on my end, it's like I kind of have to, you know, first watch what I'm doing before I do whatever I need to do outside in the world with, you know, whoever I want to meet. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely, you know, that's just, I mean, it's hard. Trust me, it's hard because, yeah.
Definitely seems like an interesting dynamic. Roy, I already know you would definitely date, you know, women with kids. Bao, would you date women with kids? Then you're not going to hurt Monica's feelings here, right, Monica?
I want to say...
You won't hurt my feelings.
I want to explain that, my mom was a single mom, so I was the kid. I was in that perspective growing up, so I did sense the urgency and the financial stress supporting me. So I like to commend you on that, Monica. Would I? Absolutely, I would. I've thought about it before too. Like, I felt like maybe if I was looking for just single women who didn't have kids, I felt like I was limiting the pool, because I feel like if you're able to have kids and they turn out all right, like, that's something worth, you know, dating with.
I think with Roy, he actually befriends the kids before before he dates the women, because he gets along with them, has same interests, right, Roy?
Yeah, well, I try and do that, you know. Like, if they're young enough, I'll be like, hey, what's up? You know, high fives, because a lot of kids, turns out they love them high fives, you know.
But like you love like comic books and wrestling and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. And especially because I also like anime, and a lot of these kids they love anime. So I try and connect and bond with them through that type of stuff, comic books, anime, all that stuff.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in on habits that they probably need to change up or have considered changing up?
I think I'm just a lot more careful nowadays. Especially after hearing all these horror stories, I do my due diligence in making sure that I do Facebook stalking or Instagram stalking to make sure that they're telling the truth. Because I am type A, textbook type A, OCD, no nonsense. Oh. So I don't like wasting my time on people who aren't honest on their profiles. If you're starting off lying on your profile, what's there to come thereafter is my philosophy. So I'm a little bit sneaky. I make sure to get their phone number beforehand, a lot early on in the conversation. I look up their phone number. Ladies, there's this website called usphonebook.com.
Don't worry, I'm right with you on that one.
Yes, girl. And you can look up their name. You can see their age. It's an invasion of privacy, but it's helped me a lot in dating. Because yes, there are a lot of people who lie on their profile, and I am very specific with what I'm looking for. So if I can avoid wasting time with somebody who's not honest with me, then I'll definitely do it. So I've changed my habits a lot. I'm not as trusting anymore, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, I'm definitely protecting myself.
Yep.
And that's what I've been doing lately.
Grace, you seem like you were probably a big fan of the show Catfish because you know all the tips and tricks there.
Oh, I love that show. That show's amazing.
Dude, that's
it's
the
so
number one show.
It's how are you dumb bitches sending money off to these catfish people? It's so obvious. This one girl thought that she was legitimately having a relationship with Lil Bow Wow. I'm like, girl, let's be real. Look up that phone
have you seen that episode where that guy was passing as a girl, Jose, was actually talking like a girl, and the guy really thought that was a girl? I was amazed on how these people actually go beyond just to do these things.
I mean, if they knew the phone number trick that Grace knew, they wouldn't have fallen for it. But do you ever do the reverse image search and all that stuff that they do on there?
Oh, of course. Yeah. All the time.
Interesting. All right. Oh my. So anybody listening out there, don't mess with Grace with that fake shit because she'll find out.
It's funny if I may interject really quickly. So from what Grace just said, I was like, well, usphonebook.com. I was like, I never heard of it. So I just looked myself up. It says that it marks me as safe or spam fraud potential, so I guess I'm okay.
Oh.
What's it called?
It's usphonebook.com, I think. You can Google it and it'll pop up.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Under Roy, it says, does not date 200 plus pounders.
No. Formally. Does not.
Yeah. Now it says, now dates 200 plus pounders.
Those awesome personalities.
There you go, with the right personality. Dianne, anything to add to this part of the conversation?
I think for me, I need to change. I was like, I don't want to be with anybody that has kids. I don't want to deal with baby mama drama. But now as I get older, the pool tends to be more like I have a kid.
Yeah.
So I need to be more open-minded with men that have kids. So I think that's something that I'm trying to still kind of when I'm looking at profiles, it's okay, let me really dig into your profile to see if I really want to even consider dating you. Especially because I know that's something that I'm never ever gonna give anybody. That's something I want. But that's I guess something that I personally need to change my own stigma about single parents. Or not even single parents. It's just the drama behind single parents.
I think there's like an internet meme out there where, I mean, it's for guys, but I mean, I guess it applies to women too, you know, where it says like, you know, dating for guys in your 30s, you're either single or a baby daddy or something like, or no, stepdaddy, sorry. But I guess it applies to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like once you hit your 30s,
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
the field is narrowed down so much. All right, so changing gears a little bit. We talked a little bit about attraction and whatnot, and you know, I know we're all good people here, but let's talk frankly, right? Because attraction counts for a lot, especially at the beginning. And everyone has their standards when it comes to this. You know, some people maybe set their standards really, really high. Some set them really low, right? But do you ever consider giving people that you deem unattractive a chance? You know, because it's very easy to look at a profile picture and be like, nah, you know, and especially with this culture now where it's like swipe left, swipe right, you make an immediate judgment call before even looking at anything, right? I mean, could have been just a bad angle or something like that, you know? But do you ever consider giving unattractive people an opportunity?
I'm going to be brutally honest and say no. I'm always open to friendship, but I mean, again, we're all good people and we all want to be good people. But the fact of the matter is that if there's no sexual attraction, then how the hell are you going to have a relationship with sex in it or any type of sexual attraction? You know, we're humans. So, you know, that's our first attraction is looks for everybody. Whoever says that, you know, they don't look at looks and they only look at personality is full of shit. Because even Roy, because let's be real, you know, like, I don't know anybody that doesn't, I mean, it would be sad, but I don't know anybody who doesn't think that sex is important in a relationship. It's just like the fact of the matter, really.
Right. And do you, I mean, have you ever given somebody like, who's like, you know, you deem unattractive a chance before in the past?
I have. I try to be, you know, like the nice person, but at the end of the day, you know, when you meet them in person and there's no sexual chemistry, you get turned off. Like, you know, maybe they look even worse in person. I hate saying that, but like, you know, it just doesn't work out. And then you kind of like waste your time, and then you know, you hurt their feelings too. It's just a shitty situation. So I personally make sure that I'm sexually attracted to that person before I even meet them or give them a chance, because, you know, if it's not there, it's not going to work for me.
Right. Okay. Anybody else on the topic of giving unattractive people a chance?
Well, being an unattractive person myself, so
shut up, Roy.
I mean, okay, so but on a more serious note, yeah, like, so I've actually given you know, some women a chance that I previously had deemed unattractive. Like, you know, I still remember this one woman in particular. You know, she seemed like really good people, and initially I was just gonna be like, okay, she could make a really good friend, but you know, she kind of expressed an interest in, you know, having something more serious. I was like, well, okay, you know what? Why not? I'll roll the dice. Why not see what happens? You know, and but it just didn't work out eventually. But I mean, I did give it a shot for about a month or so, you know. But you know, it's just one of those things that you. But yeah, like Grace said, like there has to be some kind of basic attraction there. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there has to be some form of attraction there.
Right.
There has to be, you know.
At least an initial spark, something, right? Like you like their eyes, you like their smile, you like their body, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it depends on the person, right? Like somebody I might consider attractive might not be somebody like, you know, Grace might consider attractive. Right. It depends on the eye, right? I think online I can be a little bit more superficial because I don't know you. So I'm going to be looking at the profile, but I'm going to also be looking at the pictures. But I guess I even the term "given a chance" sounds a little, I don't know, mean. But I guess for other people, I have been with men that others might not consider attractive. I know my mom has been like, oh, está feito. And I was like, well, I like them. Like, I really like their I guess physical attraction wasn't there at first, but like personality, like they just were, there was something like really like strong and hot for me, for them, that it was the physical attraction just came later. So, and it doesn't always have to be physical attraction first and then everything else later. So I guess that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, definitely different perspective for sure. Bauer, Monica, do you date uglies?
I mean, like, I'll be honest, at this point, I don't really give a fuck if they're ugly or not. As long as they know what they're doing under the bed sheets, then I'm okay with that. We just put it that way. Because, to be honest, I mean, that's how I see it sometimes. Like, I'm here to have fun, to be realistic, but sometimes I feel like, yeah, I mean, why not, right? Why not give it, just, I know, like what Grace said, and I totally agree with that. Like, sometimes people that say, well, it's not the look, it's the personality, but from my experience, I was a really handsome guy, but I'm sorry to say he was full of shit. And it's like, I've been with a guy that's not that very attractive to other people, but it's like, they've been, they treat me like, no other. So, and it goes back to like what Dianne said too, because my mom would tell me like, oh, no, está feo, and oh, eso sí está guapo, like stuff like that. And I'm just like, well, Mom, it's for me, not for you. Like, what's the deal, But I mean, it depends on everyone. I mean, I can say, this person might be very attractive to me, but someone might say, well, he's very unattractive, So, I mean, it all varies out, to be honest. I mean, I like Roy said, I feel like I'm not attractive at all. And I guess because, I change my style every once in a while. Because when you met me, Fabian, like I had my bangs before, and like I was into like the, psychobilly, rockabilly scene. And now it's just like, I don't even have time to fix myself. So it's like, I just feel that maybe it's just anyone who thinks, they're not attractive, but if there's a chemistry between you guys, then I say, why not give it a chance? But then it goes back to what Grace said, like, what if there's nothing, like, obviously you want more than that, but it's like, if there's no spark, yeah, it'd be great to date someone that, you might feel like, well, they're not my type, but fuck it, I'll do it, Yeah. I mean, I just think you should just risk anything in life. I mean, you can't take everything seriously, to be honest, because at the end of the day, you don't know if you're going to be living tomorrow, you don't know what's going to happen from today to like in 45 minutes, I mean, I can tell you that because I've been through fucking hell and I'm back here now and I'm just like, okay, cool. I guess I'll just, take a ride and I'll just put my seatbelt on and see where I go. That's it,
So, ugly dudes, Monica said there's a chance. So, go see her.
No, Fabian, don't do that. I don't want my Instagram to be blown up.
If that's the case, if you don't, I'm joking.
It's funny. I actually have relatives in Las Vegas, so when I go over there, I'll just, give you a call if that's fine.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
But Roy, you got to know what you're doing.
Oh, darn it! I guess that leaves me out.
We'll get you some textbooks.
Okay.
Bao.
I'll look up. I'll look on Google.
Bao, what about you, man? How about the uglies?
I find myself agreeing mostly with Grace and Roy on this, but then after Monica spoke, I'm like, okay, I can see what she's talking about. I agree with her sometimes too. But yeah, that's brief.
Yeah, for sure.
Beauty is like in the eye of the beholder, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say, right? So,
well, I'm like, you know what? This just popped in my mind, spur of the moment, and I'm gonna put you all on the spot right now. Would you consider yourself somebody who's swiped right or more often than left?
I know, if I may start, I know for a fact that I'm swiped left more often than not, mainly because I remember when Tinder first came out. And someone told me about Tinder. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Why not, right? Mm-hmm. So I originally I did it. Okay, she's cool, she's not, right? Mm-hmm. And then I went like about a week with no responses. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let me see what happens. So I just started swiping right without even looking at the pictures. I did that for all through the majority of LA. I started in downtown by where I lived, and I went to Downey by Whittier just to see what happens, just an experiment. I got maybe 3 mutual matches. And so I was like, okay, then I can see exactly where I'm at. And my self-esteem just took a dive. And I was like, I think I'm deleting this thing.
Well, I think what it is a lot of the time, too, is that, if we're being superficial here, ugly people a lot of the time don't know that they're ugly. And they have, like, this sense about them, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they think, like, oh, I'm great looking and I can treat people like, like I'm the prize kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So...
Well, if I may really quickly, like, actually I found out exactly where I was at in my 20s, right? Because I would go to a club. I would like, all right, I put the cologne on, dressed up real nice. I go to a club, and as I approach women, I was mostly shot down more often than not. I had some success here and there, but I had to persevere. So that's when I realized, okay, I guess at best I'm a 6 on a good night, but I'm about a 5, gauged, on my success, for lack of a better phrase, but on that note, when I moved here to Vegas, though, I decided, well, let me give Tinder one more try. Interestingly enough, I had a lot more success with Tinder here in Vegas than I did in LA. I didn't have to drive all through all of Vegas, in other words. I just I did my selective swiping rights, and I had a few matches here and there. And interesting enough, my last, my previous relationship of over 2 years, I met her on Tinder. So I mean, there is some success out there. You just have to know what you're looking for. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe I got better looking with time. I don't know.
It was that shaving the head, Roy. That's what did it.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. How about everybody else?
Let me just say something. I mean, I've known I've always been swiped to the left, which I really don't care at this point, So, but anyways, it depends though, because I actually had this conversation with a male, and they were saying like, yeah, you're cute, and I was like, well, I'll take cute, that's fine, like I'll take cute anytime, but just don't call me hot, because then I know that you're lying to me, So I just feel like when guys, like going back to Roy, I feel like guys are more likely to swipe on girls, right? Because they're just, especially on Tinder, you just want to get what you want to get, right? And for girls, it's more like, oh no, he's not cute. Oh no, he's not cute. So I think it varies out on males and females. Like, I think girls are most likely, like, I feel like guys sometimes say like, oh yeah, you're so attractive, when sometimes you might not feel like, but because some guys know like, oh, this girl probably doesn't have very high self-esteem, so let me kind of like give her a little like, hey, you're cute, whatever, and the girls are like, oh, okay, well, he's talking to me, blah blah blah. So I think that's like, from my perspective, that's how I see it. I grew up always like being, like the third wheel, which I'm okay with that. I'd rather just, you guys go do your thing, and I'll just hang out over here by myself, So for me, I don't even care whether it's left or right. It's just the way I see it. It's like, well, I'm really just here to have fun. Yes, you can go ahead, swipe right, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, just don't really feel like it's necessary to kind of say, well, she's this or she's that. So I'm sorry, I probably got off the topic. I don't even know.
No, I get it. Yeah. Let's go down the line. Bao, are you a swipe left or a swipe right?
I think that really depends where I'm at. If I was in San Diego, California, maybe more left than right. But if I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, I feel like I'd get more right swipes.
Fair enough.
If I was in, you can do that on Tinder, right? Like, spoof your location. Anybody know that? No?
I have no idea.
You can change your location at will and see how fair you do. Oh. But I feel like also, like, my attractiveness is like not the shallow format of Tinder. I consider myself a very passionate person, kind of obsessive in some areas. and that's also what I'm attracted to. So most of that dating app is fun for like short term, but it doesn't really work long term for me.
All right. Grace, what do you say? Are you a swipe left or a swipe right?
I feel like I am a swipe right. I think everybody here is a swipe right. Everybody here is gorgeous. They're all beautiful in their own way. And maybe it comes off cocky, but I feel like it's really important to think that you are beautiful, that you have beautiful features, that you emphasize them. But yeah, I feel like everybody should feel like they're swipe right material. Again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and there's somebody out there for everybody. So that's how I feel.
Good answer. Dianne, what do you think?
Definitely also swipe right, but I do get the weirdos. So I'm the swipe right weirdo ones. Not the ones that I would want, but yeah, I do get a lot of like hits. Sometimes a little overwhelming, but I was like, and I'm the one who's like, no, thank you, no, thank you. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I asked that because I think confidence plays a lot into the whole dating thing, and you have free dating sites and stuff like that. I think a lot of them kind of are like it creates the same issue that social media creates, where it's all about ego and making yourself look the best. Pictures are cropped at the right angle favorably. I think obviously you're not going to put all your flaws out there, right? But you could be thinking that you're going out with this completely different person, and you meet them in person. You're like, oh, you didn't look like that online, or I thought you said you have your own business, not just that you fucking hawk Herbalife on the side, So, I mean, would you guys agree with that? That that some dating sites are kind of more like kind of like Facebook or Instagram, where you're putting your best self out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that put their Instagram. I don't have Instagram, but there's a lot of people that put like their Instagram like profile username or whatever on their profiles. I'm like, what the hell? Like, are you just thirsty for Instagram followers? And you can see their intentions. So there's definitely people like that on the apps.
I'll say this when it comes down to profiles. I've tried most of them. I'm not gonna lie. At various points in my life, from POF to OkCupid to Tinder, and a few others. And I tend to be brutally honest on there, like about myself in many ways. Like I'll just type out. I really don't know what to write about myself. That's how I usually start out. And but I just put various interests that I have, and I'll also put like at the same time I'm also short, so I make sure the first thing I put on is my height, because I know that's a turnoff for a lot of women. So I don't, and I still remember many years ago I went on a date, an online date, and I told this woman that I was like 5'3", and I told her that, and she was like, "Oh, I'm 5'6", but I'm okay with it. All right." So as we went out, she was like, "I thought you'd be taller." I told you I was 5'3", but I thought you'd be a taller 5'3". You mean 5'5"? I was like, "What's going on here?" So yeah. So I mean, and I get it. I'm like, there's a saying in Spanish, no soy moneda de oro. I'm not. So essentially, I'm not a gold coin. So I'm not about to go ahead and be everybody's cup of tea. So, and I get it, So I just try and put the most honest profile that I can out there, and let the cards fall where they may.
Ladies, what's and without hurting Roy's feelings, he's resilient. What's the cutoff?
Oh, yeah.
What's the cutoff for height for you all?
I'm 5'1", so as long as you're taller than me.
Okay. Fair enough.
I've been with guys that are like 6'2", so I mean, I don't really care about height. I mean, I wear heels sometimes, so does it really matter?
All right.
So if you ever do come here to Las Vegas, just know you can wear heels with me.
I'll wear sandals. How about that?
I'm 5'3", but I'm going through. This is gonna sound so superficial. My ex was 6'2", so I'm going through like a tall guy phase right now. So on my preferences, I'm looking for like 6 and up.
You know, it's funny you say that because I recall, I'll never forget this. I ran across a profile on one of the dating sites, right? And the woman specifically said, please be between 5'8" and 5'11". And I'm like, wow, that is such an oddly weird specific height range.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, man, wait, why? But I just couldn't help but laugh on that one.
Maybe she was trying to frame somebody for murder and was trying to get the exact details. Like, please be between 5'8" and 5'11". Please weigh between 150 to 180 pounds. You know?
Right?
If you can, before the date, get a tattoo of a teardrop on your eye. Bao, would you date any woman that was taller than you?
I've dated women taller than me. Yeah.
How'd that go?
I found like what really attracted me wasn't the height. Like there was no attraction or repulsive thing with that. It's there are other qualities, man. I'm like kind of over that.
All right. So
the physical.
So for the ladies listening out there, that's good guy Bao. Just so we put it out there, good guy Bao. We're gonna make an internet meme about it.
Please do make me famous.
So again, go ahead, Roy.
I was gonna say it's interesting because I have gone out with women that were much taller than me before. You know.
Well, you don't have a choice, Roy.
I know, right? But it's interesting because it's usually tougher to find taller women that are willing to date shorter men. But the tallest woman I ever went on a date with, interestingly enough, she was like 6'4".
Dang.
Yeah.
Was that another wrestler or what?
No.
She wanted to go.
Did play a lot of because she did play basketball in college, but that's a whole other story.
She wanted to go to Hollywood Video instead of Blockbuster, right?
Right. Exactly. But she was really awesome people. You know, we got along really well. But back then, I was an overgrown man child. So let's just say that my personality and sense of humor was a lot more puerile back then. And so she could only take about 2 months worth of it.
Plus, I just did the math. She was a foot and an inch taller than you.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Made for some interesting times, but overall we did have fun.
Well, all right. So we talked about, the different, we're talking about the different types of dating apps. So we have like the social media type, right? Which would be like Plenty of Fish, stuff like that. There's Tinder, obviously, which is like the, I'm here, fuck me apps. Has anybody ever tried like the more serious ones like Match.com or something like that? Because those have been known more to, get people in long-term relationships and eventually married, right? Because people spend money on it. They spend a lot of time filling out their quizzes and whatnot. Have any of you all tried any of those?
I have.
I tried Match and eHarmony, and I had really good luck on Match.
Okay. How is that experience? Because I don't think too many people are familiar with it, because like the reason free dating sites are so popular is because they're free, right?
Some of them are free, but some of them are like, oh, if you want more, like you have to pay,
Did any of you pay for them?
No. I mean, I tried Match. I paid for Match, and I didn't like it. They never like got me matched with people my preference. And I tried eHarmony, same thing, and I paid for it. I think I got in better luck with free ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried like way back when. What was it called? Oh, before Match acquired it, it was called Yahoo Personals. So eventually, it was acquired by Match, and but that's where I met my ex-fiance. So we met and everything, but eventually became Match. But before her, it was another website. I can't. It was also acquired by Match, but she and I, we were together for about 2 years, and yeah, it was also one of those paid sites. So they asked you a whole bunch of questions, and they came up with an algorithm to try and give you the best matches based on your responses. So I think those that are like, kind of like that you have to pay, but you have to answer all these type of questions to kind of like, set you up with somebody to go, that, what do you call that, will mostly be your best match. I feel that, if you're serious, give it a try, even if it's like 10, 15, 20 bucks a month. But you know what though? It's that, or go on the free apps and spend, a lot more on countless first dates,
Yeah, good advice there. Anybody else on the different types of dating apps?
I'm on Hinge right now. It's supposed to be more serious than Bumble or Tinder, but it's hit or miss, I feel like. I'm tempted to go back on Match and spend money just because I've had really good luck on Match. I met my ex-fiance that I was with for 5 years on Match. I met my most recent ex on Match, and the caliber of people are definitely a lot higher in a sense that they're more serious about finding a real relationship, not just like a fuck buddy or anything like that, or not just like casual dating, but they're like seriously looking for a long-term relationship. So because people are paying for it, I feel like, again, they're a lot more serious and they're not there to play games or anything. And again, they're truly looking for like love, I feel like, on those apps. But Hinge is, it's like pretty hit or miss. I did get an unsolicited dick pic on Hinge, which I was really surprised. But yeah, I've met a lot of good people on there, and I've met a lot of people who are just like casually looking.
All right. Really quickly, because a couple of you mentioned being engaged, right? Roy, have you been engaged more than once?
No, just once.
Just once. And then Grace, you were engaged once?
Yes.
Anybody else on the call? Were you guys engaged at any point? Oh, okay.
No.
The reason I ask, right, is because a lot of the time there's like pressure from friends and family, like, oh, you need to, get married or get tied down, right? For everybody on the call, right? What's pressure like from family and friends? Do they typically like stay out of your business, or do they try to end your single life?
Well, coming from an Asian family, there's a lot of pressure to get married and start a family, find a husband that's going to take care of you. My parents aren't typical Asians. They're very Americanized, but I think it's true with all parents. They just want to see their kids happy and start a family and pop out grandchildren for them. So I get a lot of pressure, especially from my dad.
Ooh.
Well, my parents aren't married, actually. So, I mean, my mom doesn't really push me. She just says, just find someone that's going to be there for you. I mean, I don't think of planning having kids anytime soon either. So, I mean, I'm not really too worried about it either. I think my mom, secretly, she's like probably praying and like doing a rosary so I can find someone to be with. But I think it's more of like, my parents are just kind of like, well, whatever makes you happy. We're not going to push you either to be with someone, Well, my ex that I was living with, baby daddy, my mom thought like we were probably going to like run off and like get married. But I was like, no, Mom, he's still married. He's not even divorced yet. Like, can't do that, It's not even valid. But, I mean, my parents don't really, that I know of, I don't really touch that subject either because I feel like, me being the youngest of the family and then having a child, outside of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just broke the chains there, and they were just like, okay, whatever. Well, she didn't follow the rules, and I'm like, sorry, So yeah, that's my point.
Okay, they kind of stay out of it.
My dad does. My brother does. My brother doesn't even really care. He doesn't even want to get married. So yeah, he's out of that. My mom's kind of like 50-50. So
okay. Dianne or Roy, what's the pressure like from friends or family?
And when I was in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s, my cousin's wife would always tell me, when are you gonna get married? When are you gonna have kids? You should have kids. You're gonna dry up soon. I'm like, I don't think it exactly works that way, but she would always bug me about that, and but some of my other aunts said they would occasionally ask, so do you just not want to date anyone seriously? And I was like, because when I was in my 20s, early 30s, I was a serial dater. I never took anyone that seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I was my mid 30s that I realized, what, I think I should start looking at things more seriously. So that's when I started getting more serious, but I digress. Back to the pressure thing. My mom, though, she never really, when I was younger, she was like, right up to my mid 30s, she always said, no, he doesn't need to have kids, because she was a little bit, I want to say vain, because she would, because as long as I didn't have kids, she would consider herself young because she wasn't a grandmother, Mm. But outside of that, eventually she did start asking me, like, hey, so with this woman, what are your plans? Are you gonna have long term? Are you gonna go ahead and she started asking me, am I gonna eventually get married, be happy with kids? And I was telling her, what, if it happens, it happens. Mm-hmm. I'm not really I would like to have kids, but at that time I wanted to have kids. But as I got older, I realized, I'm okay if I don't have kids, like I'm okay. Like I tell all my students, you know what? I don't have kids, but you're all my kids. So if 10, 15 years from now, I happen to see you and you recognize me, I'll be like, you know what? You're still my kids. You're still my students, right? Mm. But aside from all that, like, I don't really plan on having kids. And I told my parents, if you plan on having kids, let me rephrase that. If you plan on having grandkids, my dog is the closest you'll get.
Dianne, speaking of dogs, I know you love dogs, right? What's the pressure like from family and friends for you?
I don't get pressure. I mean, not anymore. When I was in my early 20s, I did. But then having a conversation with I come from a single parent household, so so there isn't really pressure. There was, like I mentioned, but once I told her, like, I don't want kids, I think she pressured a little bit more, but then after my sister had kids, then it stopped because she wanted to be a grandma. Yep. So after she became a grandma, I was like, okay, so you don't want to have kids. And then, my friends are fine. Like, I'm a professional third wheeler, fifth wheeler, like I accepted that title. It's on my resume. So yeah, I mean, they also know, like, my kids are my pets. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows, like, I make it, I wear that title proud. Mm-hmm. So I know once I do find a partner, like, our kids would definitely be, fur babies. So, yeah.
Bao, any pressure, family and friends, for you to end that single life?
My mom is traditional first generation Asian American, so I get it from her. Mm-hmm. My stepfather is like, Hawaiian pothead surfer. He doesn't really care.
Okay.
So, and I try to ignore my mom, so it doesn't really bother me too much.
So yeah, no pressure on Bao. So I did, for Social Media Says, I like to get the audience involved as much as possible. I do that with polls a lot of the time. So I put a poll out there asking about the single life and just asking people what their thoughts are. I gave two options. One option was, it's the best life, right? And the other option was, you sad, lonely souls, right? So what do you guys think got more of a response? Was it, it's the best life, or you sad, lonely souls? Like percentage-wise. Best life? What
Best life.
I'll say it's best.
Best. What percent do you guys think was it's the best life?
Well, just so I can have a bit, sorry, this mathematical mind here working. Approximately how many responses were there?
Want to say like 30-ish.
Okay, then, so I'll go with like a little over 60, about 60, between 60 and 65%, I would say would be best life.
Okay. Any other guesses real quick?
I was about to say the same, like 65, 70.
The final results were about 85% said that it's the best life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And that was from a lot of married people, by the way. I looked who voted. There were only a couple of people that said you sad, lonely souls, right? But what do you guys
Maybe if you would have like worded it different, people would have like
Right.
voted differently.
I did that on purpose. I like to stir the pot,
Yeah.
But why do you, other than my choice of words there, why do you think most people think of it as like the best life?
I'll say this because like from my perspective, it just comes down to the fact that a lot of people like believe it's the best life because of that freedom, the freedom of choice to be able to, like, if I want to go ahead and just say pick up and go somewhere, I can do that without having to, for lack of a better phrase, check in if it's okay with the better half, you know. Like for example, if I have a couple friends say, hey, listen, brand new bar opened up, let's go. I don't have to be like, honey, do you think it's cool if I go out with the boys, and I'll be back by a certain time, and where you can just pick up and go, or if you just want to go out and just do whatever, I think that's what I believe it is. Some people feel when they are in either a committed relationship that sometimes they have to make sure it's cool with the other half. I'm thinking, because I know when I was in a serious relationship, if I was going to go out with friends, I wanted to make sure it was cool with her.
Right. Any other quick thoughts?
I mean, you're just pretty much, it's the communication, because sometimes it's like you have to communicate. It's like what Roy said, communicating everything what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I personally think that it's the best thing ever, because it's like you can do whatever you want without anyone telling you that's wrong.
Mm.
You can text whoever you want without them saying, who are you texting, So it's like, you can like stay up until like 1 or 2 in the morning drinking, and like you don't have to tell anyone like, I'm drinking, but with this person. So, just to reassure them that you're not doing anything, personally, you don't need to give anyone an explanation at this point, because you just do you,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how I see it, and just self-care, because when you're in a relationship with someone, there's no self-care with your own self. Like, you're always worried about what you got to do with that other person, or you're always worried about, I have to like meet that person's needs, because then they're going to take it on me, and then I'm going to like start panicking, and so they become like anxiety, like all of that stuff is what makes me feel like I prefer to be single than to be with someone else,
All right. Good answer. Anybody else?
I feel like it's the same with everything in life, everything, or most of the time, everything is like, a double-edged sword. If most of the people who voted were married, of course they're going to think it was greener on the other side. So there's pros and cons with everything, I feel like.
For sure. All right. So a few people commented on this as well. Cynthia Lopez on Instagram says, I'm in between. For some things, it's the best, and for others, it's just lonely. Angie Diaz on Instagram says, being single is lit because you get to do you. It differs from person to person. Some need the love and affection their partner shows. And then an anonymous guy on Instagram said, single life is the best. I never have to buy stupid shit on Valentine's Day or anniversaries. The part that sucks is looking like the lonely loser with no date at weddings or no kiss on New Year's. Now I see why they wanted to be anonymous. So that's the feedback. It's the feedback we got based off of that question. So for for the panel, real quick, overall, what's your goal? Do you eventually want to get married, be in a long-term commitment? How do you see that happening? Is it something you really think about, or it's just kind of like, is what it is?
If I may start, I guess I used to want to get married. You know, I wanted. Obviously, I've been engaged. You know, but now ever since, okay, I know it's gonna sound pretty messed up, but ever since I bought my house, I was thinking, if I do get married, I'm about to screw up somehow. You know, I'm not gonna cheat. Don't get me wrong, but at some point, she's gonna probably get tired of me and my nonsensical, rambling, and that's among other things. But in my personality, so I'm thinking, you know what? If she divorces me, I'm gonna lose my house and potentially my dog. So. But on the more, serious note, no, I really used to want to get married. Now, not so much anymore. I mean, if the right person comes along, I'll obviously, I'll talk with her and I'll be like, okay, if you're serious and you want to get married, we can have that discussion. If she's adamant about getting married, I'm like, okay, I would have to really love her and have that deep conversation with her. But for now, long-term relationship is where I want to be at. And if she wants to get married, I'll have the discussion with her, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And get that prenup so you don't lose the dog.
I know, right?
I mean, at first, I didn't believe in marriage. But I think I kind of changed my shift. But I feel it's like until I find the right person, then maybe I'll probably want to get married. But I mean, yeah, like Roy said, when you're married and if you have kids, it's like, it gets really ugly. I can tell you that right now. Like, it gets really ugly. I wasn't married with this guy, but I'm in the process right now of like child support and child visitation, all that custody. And it gets really messy. And that's why, I prefer to say, do you really need to show, have this huge wedding and have like all this glamorous things just to show everyone that you love this other person that you want to commit to them? Like, you can just go ahead and just do it by civil, that's what makes you better. Things, you think it's better for everyone, saves you money too, to be honest. But I mean, it's on everyone's, point of view as well, because like me now, it's just like, yeah, one day I hope I get married, or I'm just gonna be that lady with a bunch of cats, and just hanging out at home, by myself. But yeah, that's my little pointer.
Sure.
I'm more like, what happens happens. Yeah. More like go with the flow.
All right.
If I end up being in a long-term commitment, great. If I end up getting married, great. I'm not like one to pressure people or pressure somebody to like get married. It's not like a dream of mine or a goal of mine. It's just like let's get through like the first date and see what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely more like, let's just go with the flow and see where things go.
Nice.
I think I could see myself getting married eventually, but not anytime soon. I think one of the biggest problems I've seen, speaking, because I'm in college now and I interact with a lot of undergrads, and it seems like a lot of the issue is just the parents don't have time for them. We live in this system where like their parents are always like working and stuff, and I've seen that when I was in El Monte, right? Like hanging out with my friends, and both their parents are working. Like I feel like that breeds a lot of misguidedness, loneliness, and just, I don't want to contribute to that. I'll get married, I'll have kids when I'm ready.
Yeah, for sure.
I totally agree with Bao on the importance of readiness for parents to have children. I mean, sometimes you can't help it, but I'm a huge advocate for that. I think it's different for women, or most women, because, when you're little, you're like, I want to get, married right after college, and this is how my dress is gonna look. And, you create this fantasy in your head when you're younger as a child, and then when you grow older, you get more jaded. But at the end of the day, you know, I still want to get married and share my life with somebody. And, you know, provide a loving home for a child if that was in the picture. My parents are separated, and, you know, I was devastated, but it was for the best. But I definitely wish that their relationship was stronger. And it wasn't because it was an oopsie baby. So it was a shotgun wedding, but I definitely don't want to make that mistake and force myself to get married to somebody. I definitely want to find that true love that everybody keeps talking about, and, you know, live a happy life sharing it with somebody. So I'm definitely an advocate for marriage.
Cool. A lot of different perspectives there. After hearing everybody's kind of perspectives, points of views, experiences, do any of you have any advice or tips for the other panelists on here? I know you all don't know each other, so it might be kind of like awkward, but I hope we set that tone enough where you guys can kind of throw things out there at each other. So any advice for any of the other panelists after hearing what they had to say?
I feel like everybody should feel confident. You guys are all, I mean, again, we don't know each other very well, but, you know, just from the couple hours that we spent with each other, I feel like, you know, everybody has a good head on their shoulders. Everybody means well. And I feel like you guys should be a little bit more confident. Especially Roy. Calling yourself ugly and short.
The short part, okay, I get the ugly being subjective, but the short is not subjective. Let's be real here.
It's a fact. However, you know, that insecurity, I don't know, you know, you're joking about your height is part of insecurity, but your insecurity really resonates and comes through to other people. And I feel like, you know, it sounds so cliche to say, but you have to love yourself before you love another person, or to find love with another person. And I feel like that's incredibly important. And Monica touched on, you know, like how, you know, taking care of yourself, personal health is really important. And I totally am an advocate for that too. So, you know, I feel like maybe we should all love each other, or love ourselves a little bit more, and give ourselves more credit to put ourselves out there, because again, you know, that's going to resonate and come through when you're talking to people, even through your profiles. So I feel like that's really important when looking for a new relationship.
And I totally agree with what you're saying. And my whole thing is that my humor, like, so you know how Fabian said earlier, early in the podcast, that I have an acquired humor, you know? So my humor is somewhat self-deprecating at times. So if I joke around about my height, it's not so much because I portray my insecurities. I came to terms with my height many, many years ago. I did have issues with it for years, obviously, because like I'll give you a perfect example. Like many, many years ago, I was talking to this one young woman, you know, and she said, "Oh wow, you're a great person, like this and that. I would totally could see myself dating you." And before I could say, "Oh well, why don't we go out?" she said, "If only you were taller. I only date guys that are like 6 feet tall and over." And she was like maybe 5 feet tall. And I'm like, okay then, so whatever, you know, I get it, you know. But my whole thing is that, like I said, I've been shot down a lot, but I don't let that get to me, because I know it's part of the game. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try my luck and see what happens. And I have had success. All I have to do is just, you know, see what happens. Try my luck and see what happens. That's all I do, you know.
All right.
The only thing I was gonna say is, one thing I've noticed, and especially with myself earlier on, before I did my change, you know, was the fact that is that if you have like a type per se, or if you just have certain things that you only want to go ahead and go with, the type of people you only want, a preference. Like if you're noticing the same thing happening over and over again, kind of like with myself, I realized, you know what? expand on that. Why just go ahead and stay with just one type? If you notice, it's kind of like, well, I only like dating redheads, but I keep on striking, but it keeps on not working out with redheads. Example, So I say just go ahead and start, I don't know, expanding on it. See, you never know. You could probably find happiness in the most unlikeliest of choices in the person you might decide to date. That's the only thing I could say.
Thank you, Roy. Monica, you had a thought.
Going back to what both of you guys said, yeah, it's definitely, after being out of a relationship that was like, really shitty. And I tell people, like, this is the advice that I always tell my friends, is that, first love yourself before you go ahead and love someone else. Because first, you kind of have to sit down and realize what is it that you keep attracting, or what is it that you keep looking for. And it goes back to also like, well, like, do I keep looking for this because that's what makes me feel comfortable with it? And sometimes you have to get out of that comfort zone and just be like, well, fuck it, let's give it a try, Mm-hmm. I know sometimes, like, for those who have been engaged, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's very devastating once, the relationship gets torn apart because you think, that was the one. But sometimes those are the people that need to come into our path to kind of put us on a straight path for us to kind of understand like where we're actually going. And that's how I see it. All these lessons, all these experiments, we've gone through, it's definitely for us to go on the right path and to find the one that we really want to be with, So, I mean, take it like this, let the universe do it for you instead of you doing it for yourself kind of way. So that's my little 2 cents for you guys.
Bao, you got anything for us?
Yeah, I'd like to add on to what Monica said about, comfort zones. I feel like me being in my early 30s now, I'm running into dating people in my age group where life is kind of slowed down, like whether it's complacency, stagnation, or whatever it is, loss of interest, or maybe work just overwhelmed them such that they can't do the stuff they enjoy anymore. I feel like that really slows you down. Like right now, I'm traveling right now. I'm in a mountain town 6,000 feet up, and I felt like I had to get away from the city. I felt like in order for me to find the people that I really want to enjoy being around, people who are still doing things at my age. I'm training for a 100-mile race, and I feel like doing those things give me what I need, because what I really needed wasn't like, when I was in high school, I was into like Latina girls, or when I was in South Carolina, I was into these different things. It became like an endless chase for these new things that potentially could fill this void. But I felt like doing these things that I want to do and meeting people along the way is becoming like my best chance of finding somebody I can stay in my life for a long time.
All right, so I appreciate you guys all chiming in on the topic of the single life. I think it was a lot of fun, especially not, knowing who you're talking to. It could be kind of awkward, but I think we broke the ice there, damn it. But one thing I like to do on every episode is I like to talk about the next episode, right? And next week, it's a different type of episode again, because I'm talking to some big guys about the big and tall life. And it's a subject I know well, I think a lot of people don't really kind of think about like what is life like on that side, because there's a lot of things that you have to do differently, right? One aspect of that life that many people probably don't think about is big man fashion. It's hard to be stylish as a big guy, and I purposely wore a loud Hawaiian shirt today to kind of prove that point, is that, you think of big guys and you think of like, okay, if you even think about their fashion, I was like a big fat party animal in a Hawaiian shirt, right? Or just some, a lot of times like, oh, okay, it's just a big sloppy dude or whatever. But, some of us, like to dress nice, and that's what we're going to talk about on the next episode. But what I want to know from you all is, and again, I'm going to preface by saying I know we're all nice people and everything, but get real brutal here, damn it. What are some, fashion no-nos for the big man, right? Give the big guys like some advice about like you definitely shouldn't wear that. I'll start off.
Loud Hawaiian shirts.
That's the one I was gonna say. All right, I'm glad Grace just shouted it out right there. But another one might be like skinny jeans. I've seen big guys wear skinny jeans. I'm like, you look like a fucking popsicle, dude. Like tiny little legs and a big old midsection. But what's like another like fashion no for big guys?
Thanks.
Okay.
I've met a lot of big guys who are insecure that wear Spanx, and it just makes their body look so weird. Just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Bright colors.
Bright colors.
Yeah. Don't wear them.
Anybody else?
The cap with the Hawaiian shirt.
Y'all really don't like my Hawaiian shirts. Dang. All right, I'll take.
No, I totally like the Hawaiian shirt. Like, it's so cool, but it's just the cap just kind of kills it. Like, I'm like, okay, you guys decide, man. Like, what are you gonna wear? The cap or the Hawaiian shirt?
It's my lazy look. Roy, what do you think, man?
Nothing. I'm not good. I'm the last person to talk about fashion. I'm a t-shirt and jeans mostly type of person. During the summer, I look forward to it because I can wear my shorts and t-shirts. So I'm the last person to talk about fashion. So,
all right. I'm keeping the Hawaiian shirts. I don't care what anybody says.
I appreciate it, man. Keep them.
Yeah. I actually like the Hawaiian shirts. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm like it's always been my thing, but only just I don't know. I just like them. But I hope you guys all enjoyed being part of the panel. I know Dianne left a little early, but what'd you guys think? A lot of fun?
Yes.
Yes, a lot of fun.
And
yes, thank you for having us.
Definitely. I know some of you guys have already been on. Bao, Roy, you guys already been on. Monica, Grace, and then Dianne, who left a little early. If any other podcast episode you want to be a part of, you're always welcome back. Grace, I know we'll get back to it in a couple episodes, right? But again, I appreciate you all for being on. Everybody listening at home, appreciate you listening. Thank you. Fuck you and good night. Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.